That's what you do. You buy these players that cost money and make a difference in it. But we never do that.
Never complains, gets up, gets on with a smile on his face.
They just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without the truth. If you haven't seen it before, please watch the first two episodes, the second season.
We are on the site of the castle,
and it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Look at that. Absolutely fascinating. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all well. It's been a mad day, hasn't it? You know what? I can't get this light properly. Can't get it right. Never get it right. But here I am anyway, talking about different things tonight. I don't know where to start, actually, because with the bombing and that, with the bombing in Damascus, people don't realise that this is a put on. Definitely get rid. Look, they've been trying to get rid of Bashir Assad for years. He finally went. And what did they do? They brought in El Sharia, whatever his name, Sharia, whatever name, El Jawani, whatever name you want to call him. So they brought him. And to be honest, he's a stooge. He's a stooge for Israel and America. And people don't realise that. So you've got like these Bedouins and, the Druze. Now, El Jawani, as soon as he became president, he started killing loads of Christians, nothing was said. Killing them, executing them, thousands of them. And nothing was said. You notice that? The Americans never said anything. Because they dared, because of Israel. Now the Druze, they went, so they armed themselves up to the eyeballs. They armed them. Where did they get the weapons from? All of a sudden, have you noticed? Where did these weapons come from? Do you think you could look a little bit east from the Middle East, go more east and north? There's a country there at war, and I'm not talking about Russia, I'm talking about Ukraine, because what do they do with arms? They put them on the black market. It's been proved, without a shadow of a doubt. They've been selling them off to Mexican cartels and Colombian cartels. And even the Germans been selling them to the bad fellas in Germany. But anyway, so the Druze went over that. So the Israelis went, that'll do us. We'll go in and say, like, listen, we're going to bomb, these people. This El Jawani. We're going to we'll sort them for you. So you can be on our side. So they bombed Damascus. They bombed them. And do you know what that's for? You know what it's for, don't you? And America said nothing. The good old Americans, they've said nothing as usual. It's to open a corridor right through to the borders of Iran. That's what it's all for. And to make Israel the biggest state. From the Golden Heights right through to Damascus. That's where they are now. But it's further out now. It's further in. And that's the big road. That's the big land they want for the greater Israel. And I don't think people are aware of this. One of my neighbours knocked. I lent her a book, book of poetry I lent her. Ex-teacher. Nice lady. Don't get me wrong. Her husband travelled the world. He's been to Galapagos. Anyone who's been to Galapagos has travelled the world. Yeah, honestly. Anyway, down jungles, through jungles, swinging with monkeys in the jungles, talking to parrots and everything, this fella. And I was sitting outside one day, it was, when the good weather first came. And I was sitting there, and he went, Frank, what do you think of? And this lady is what, but I don't want to talk about that. He walked away and he went. So he walked away. What it was, he wanted to talk about Zelensky. He said, what do you think about that corrupt Zelensky? And that was it. She just said, we've got to go shopping. Don't be talking about it. So anyway, my story is that, now don't forget, she's an ex-teacher, a head teacher, by the way, not just a. And she said to me today, she brought a book back. She said, thanks for that. I said, okay, no problem. I said, you can have it if you want. She said, no. She said, anyway. She said, what do you think of that German Chancellor, Merz? I said, what about him? She said, I think he just looks the part. I think he's great. See what he came out with, said. To me. She's never heard me swear so much. She's never heard me swear at all. I said, do you know what it is? I gave the background to him. His family background. She was like, I said, von der Leyen? She said, yeah. She said, no, it's nothing. She said, but nothing's said in the papers. I thought, and this is what it's about. People don't realise. They don't delve into it. I was talking to Anthony the other, I forgot to ring him last night actually. But anyway, I was talking to him. Now, I've said this on a couple of occasions. Honestly, I have. There was always an expression, and I think it was by George Bernard Shaw, not quite so sure. Excuse the pun. And he said, ignorance is bliss to people. Ignorance. What's going on. I think it was him, I'm not quite so sure. Don't quote me on it. And I said to that was easy, I read that. I read it. And I'll tell you what was going on at the time. I read that was the Falklands, an island. troubles. So you're talking 81, 82. Oh, and the riots here. And people are asking, were asking at the time, what's this for? See, look, this country is full of propaganda, always has been, for years. We lost the British Empire. I don't like empire building, by the way, I've never have to. When you start reading about it, what empires are like and what happened when they went into countries. It wasn't waving a little flag and saying, hi, this is what we're going to do for you. This is what we're going to do to you. I used to have a cartoon. It was a cartoon, like those, not a Mickey Mouse sort of cartoon, if you know what I mean. But it was a cartoon where you see a fella and he's got his hands tied, British officer, and he's got his hands tied behind, he's kneeling down, you see a fella but ready to behead him. And underneath it says, you can't do this, I am British. That's what it was like. I am British. And that's empire building. That's empire building. So, getting back to the fact of ignorance is bliss. I said to Anthony, I said, do you know what? I said, I've said on a couple of occasions, like through time, I wish I knew nothing. Honestly, I wish I could just sit down, read a book. I've always read books, and I should have just stuck to Dickens and not delve into Dickens. Like not gone to university, not done anything, not studied, not went into depth, not getting these primary sources and reading documentation. I wish I hadn't done it. Just sit down, watch the telly, watch Coronation Street. You might think, what? What's Coronation Street? Emmerdale Farm. Because what we know is awful. We talk about bad people. And they were the bad people. You get, as that lady said, about Mates, Frederick Mates. He seems a gentleman. And did you hear what he said? What? We'll stop Russia. Then I went on about, the family tree of Callas, von der Leyen, Baerbock. She said, who's Baerbock? Who's Callas? She's heard of von der Leyen. I said, did you hear about the MI6? Who's taken over? The woman. Yeah, it's just a woman. Like in James Bond, like Dame Judy. I said, but do you know her background? Nothing. So it's to know background, to know why things start. I know, there's folks out there that haven't a clue. That's when people say to me, oh, what you think of that Putin? Them invade, them Russians invading. I just say one thing and then kill them off. I just say, do you know Victoria Nuland? You heard about it. Once they say no, then I just say, fuck off. And I said that to a good friend. He came to visit me. Oh, last year. Yeah, fucking smoked. Fucking bothered, like. Yeah. Anyway, let's see what you've been saying. Even in Franco, I never thought it would get to a situation where a super injunction, essentially a gag, was introduced by the last government to cover up its incompetence relating to the Afghan data breach. Look, when you go to bed, all your life, every one of us, me included, and you pull the sheets over, or the duvet, or whatever you pull over yourself, through life, through your life, and everyone in the country is the same. There's been more cover-ups than that, than us pulling the sheets over us in our lifetime, of everything. There was I don't know, some smart ass. He's an American general or some fucking thing, in NATO. And he called Rutte our great leader. And he's, the big strategy plan. Russia want to take on Europe and take over Europe. He said then they're going to turn their attention, along with China, to Taiwan and the South China Seas. He said, in other words, they want to take over the world. Couldn't believe this, what I was fucking listening to. This is NATO. Look, NATO is America. NATO is America. And Trump, he's selling arms to NATO. So the Europeans have to give him money to buy them, but NATO, that is. Does it work like that? So fucking America is actually supplying themselves, excuse me, supplying themselves with arms for Ukraine. The sticking point with this is that Starmer and Macron and Merz have agreed to send long-range missiles into Ukraine to attack Russia. But Russia have come out and it's the first time I've ever heard Russia won. And I mean, with a big one. Do that. I don't know whether it was Peskov or someone else who said, if one missile hits any part of the Russian Federation, we will get the debris of that missile and we'll test it. We will analyze it and we will find out who made it. And there will be a big military response. It'll be a big, big response. The response that they won't want. That's what he said. Paraphrase like, but that's more or less what he said. So those storm shadows and those other things that Merz wants to send, if any of them fall on the Russian Federation, and Medvedev came out and said he just threatened them with nuclear war. That's what he said. He said, we're not standing for this. These Europeans. But it's not you or I. It's not you or I who want this. Neither does ordinary Germans. There's a leader in the Bundestag, a woman, I always forget her name, Alice, I think her name is. And she just went right at mates. Lambasted them. And it's these people I look, I don't know whether you know this girl, Sophie Scholl. Sophie Scholl was a student, 20-year-old student, and she printed out little posters. And she was giving them out in college and going around the streets giving them out against Hitler, against what they were doing. She's just giving them out. And unfortunately, the janitor found all these things in a locker, these leaflets and posters and whatever. And she was executed. She was executed, guillotined actually, by the Germans. Now, could you imagine her today with mates? Try and look up a fella, try and get footage of him named Fleischer. Judge Fleischer. One bad dude, one bad man. Simon again. What makes matters worse, we have bad actors on this list who have carried out serious crimes and been allowed into the country. The government response today was to ask people to hand over themselves. Look, it's been said for years, I was saying it at the time. I remember this lad, he was sitting on a bench and he has a Giorgio Armani. I've got an Armani coat in there. Honestly, I have. And I've had it since 2001. It's 24 years. 2001. And honestly, it's like new. 2001. Do you know how much it cost me? And I got it in Italy. I got it in a place called Lido di Eslo in 2001. And it cost me then £770 equivalent. It was lira then, by the way. I don't think it was euro. Not quite so sure. But anyway, 750. Now this fella, this was only last year or the year before. This fella was sitting with a Armani jacket on, cracking it on. Nice pair of jeans, cracking t-shirt, and trainers, good shoes, good ones, top of the range ones, and he had a phone, mobile phone, better than this thing I've got. Better than that thing. And he said, I'm just on my way to, well, it must have been, I don't know, Social Security, or I don't know, whatever it was. He said, because I want to get me fare. This is this fella. I want to get me fare so I can travel to Leeds to see some family members. He'd been in London less than a day. He came over on a boat, dinghy. That's what's coming on. Young fella in his mid-20s. And it just brings me back to the Manchester arena. when those people died and people were maimed. It brings me back to the little kids in Southport, the three little darlings. That's what it brings me back to. Because these are young people. Have you noticed? You know when they got collared? Younger people. You can't say nothing. No matter. All we hear is Starmer signing deals with France and Germany, now the EU, about to realign with more and more money, but we are being asked to shoulder the pain. I am sorry, but enough is enough. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I know about Ukraine. I know the past. I know the past. And someone, I don't think I finished it last week or the week before, whenever it was. And when they say about the Soviet Union, they were right on the border. They were on the borders. That was their buffer zone. Because the likes of the Balkan states and Romania, all around there, all these Balkan states were full of Nazis. They all joined the Nazi party. Because they hate Russians. Simple. So they went like that, you won't fucking move again. And boom. Even right down to Austria. And it was the Allies who went, oh, well, all right, don't touch Austria, just leave it. So they went, they had it, they were in there. Like as a buffer zone. And they said, listen, these fucking people in the Alps, below the Alps and everywhere else, he said, and he was looking at Italy. He said they were full of fascists then. Benito Mussolini. Fascists. And he went, yeah, but, the partisans, you've got to think about, there was more partisans down. He said, even the ordinary Italian soldier, they didn't want to be fighting the people that they were allies with 25 years before against the Germans. And no one thinks about that. Nobody thinks about that. My family were there, the First Wales War, fighting alongside the Allies. So you see, even in the Second World War, fighting the likes of Mussolini. In the Apennines. They were the partisans, members of the partisans. But we get called for everything. We're all cowards, Oh, the tanks go backwards. Having a fucking clue. Having a clue. There was one, and I was made up with it. It was great, actually. There's a film called Von Ryan's Express. Frank Sinatra, Trevor Howard. And they're in an Italian prisoner of war camp. Italians and go, fuck, he said, look, we're going to escape here. Cool. It's the door there. Pumping it. They weren't bothered. They didn't want soldiers, prisoners of war, in a camp that they were fighting alongside. I want to see here in Liverpool, in Huyton, a place called Huyton. The prisoners of war, they're the Italians. They didn't want to fucking be there. But it was funny. But you want to see the church they built? Well, an altar. It's incredible. Inside the prison. Go on and on, but I don't want to. Oh, Glasgow was good. Glasgow was very complimentary about our Italian brothers and family. Bella Italia. Buonasera, Franco and family. Hope you're all well. Yes, buonasera. Buonasera, Bella. I see that Maloney's letting out 10,000 prisoners. Have you ever thought why? I know that you might think, oh yeah, the prisons are overcrowded. Point is, why are they overcrowded? Why? All of a sudden. Think about that. I can't say it on here. Sorry, but I can't. I get looked up. Edward, Frank Carlyle is the man. Thank you, Ed. Labour agreed 850 million could be $1 billion to house Afghan. This is the point. This is the point. So, Redbird. It is a disgrace. 1 minute we got no money, benefits have to be cut, winter fuel payments cut, but next minute we can find money like a rabbit out of a hat. The hypocrisy is just sickening. We fucking signed a thing to give Ukraine £5 billion every fucking year for the next 100 years. Ukraine, fucking hell, Ukraine. We were fucking fighting them. They were all fucking Nazis. And they still can't get it in the fucking heads. It sickens me. Tosca. Buonasera, Franco. Evening up. Hope you're all well. Yes. Yes. I'm going to go right through, boys and girls. Lovely to see you all, honestly. It's the IBL. Evan Seasman. I haven't heard from you for a while. What happens here? Evening, Frank. Evening, Evan. Johan. Good evening, Frank, and legends in it. Oh, everyone as well. Says Johan. Johan, what do you think of that fella? Fella named Lord from Elmston. And he's caused murder by putting up a post. How much is Jota worth now? There's murder over it. But that's only what I'm telling you now. Nothing to do with you, mate. Nothing. The Redbirds, our government treacherous bar stewards don't care. We are quickly becoming an Islamic country. They've all got mansions in protected areas, plus their mansions abroad. They are getting mills to buy betrayals. Oh, it's terrible. They've got Sharia law courts. Look, say I was a Muslim, right, and I committed a crime here, and I got nicked. Do you know what I could be? I could, just say, I don't recognise this court. Do you know that? I only recognise the Sharia court. And he won't be prosecuted, or she won't be prosecuted. Do you know that? It's the IBR. That's it, Professor Del Franco, hope you're spiffing, old chap. See you, didn't I? On the Boss channel. Oh, good. It's good, eh? It's good, eh? Or he even mentioned me, didn't he? Which was nice. The Red Bird. It's a sickening, Simon. But the brainwashed sheeple want the whole world to come in while our taxes pay for their death cult, especially. Yeah. Yes, Simon. It's Toscana to say. Hypocrisy is spot on. Does the government expect us to just sit back and accept it all? The money is bad enough, but who are these people? Trojan offspring. Brilliant. 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 That's Toscana. Seeks fantastic people. Yeah. Says the Red Bird. Yeah. I've got a friend. She's great. Her and her husband, they go to India every year and help the poor. Help the poor. And I like the Chinese. I always remember, honestly, one Christmas Eve, no, Christmas Day, Christmas morning, stays with my grandmother. And I gets up and I said, where's my parcel? A little brown parcel with string around. And she said, oh, Francis, do you mean for a half pie? That was the Chinese laundry. Always sent me shirts up there. Starch collar. I went, yeah. She said, I didn't go for it, Francis. I went, oh, I can't go out. She went up for it. My grandmother creeped up. And she knocked on his door. And he opened the door. He came down. He said, Mrs. Volante. Mrs. Volante. Came. She said, how much she did? Oh, no, you pay next week. Never forget that. So, it's not because of that I like the Chinese. Hook's Law. I think that comes from what film? Zulu. Hook. Remember that? Brilliant. I am jealous of the ignorance. That's it. Hooks. That's it, mate. That's it. Brucey. As with Frank watching Sinners and Jennifer Ellison instead of studying. It's mine's Jenny Ellison. I seen her in where was it? Sainsbury's one. I'm talking years ago. Not the Sainsbury's here. And seen her. I went, all right. And she went, oh, yeah. I said, fucking hell. I said, you're sort. What's there on me? And she went, and she lifted the trousers up. Fucking bench like bigger than that. Honestly. Alice Elizabeth Vidal, yes, AFT. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Michael J. Is ignorance bliss? Are we better off as more civilians knowing what we know? And if so, how? I know about Charles Dickens. I know about Shakespeare. I know about Blake. I know a lot about anything. Honestly, I'm not just please, but I'm trying to get to my point. Wouldn't it be great to be like that lazy who hasn't a fucking clue what's going on? And but going back years ago, going back to 2014 and the Maidan coup d'etat, not just a coup, it was a coup d'etat led by, let's say this woman's name, Victoria Nuland, the CIA and MI6, to overthrow a legitimate government that the people of Ukraine brought in. Lukashenko. I always get mixed up with Lukashenko of Belarus with his name. They all sound the fucking same, except Zelensky. But anyway, that's by the by. And I knew about that. I knew about it, Michael. I knew about it. And I was going mad at the time. You just seen a little. Look, I don't know whether you know about NGOs. These are people brought in by these agents, NGOs, to start colour revolutions. Just like they did in Serbia last year, tried to overthrow their government. They did it in Georgia, tried to overthrow their government recently. They fucking did it in Romania when they cancelled elections. So there was a little group of people, we want a job. Only a little group, a few hundred of them, in Liberty Square. Then all of a sudden, a week or so later, there was fucking thousands with guns to overthrow against the Ukrainian people, by the way. But you had the Azovs. The Azovs were at Newland. And on that fucking day in Odessa, they burnt alive 40-odd people in a union building, burnt them alive. That's what kind of people these are. When Liverpool played, drew against, they drew Real Madrid and they had the final, they got to the final, fucking Kiev. And she said, are we going? I said, no. Why? I don't want to go down the street, leave Bandera Street. I don't want to watch there, look at statues of Bandera. I don't want to be walking amongst these fucking people. That was me. Then when it went to St. Petersburg, we got to another fire. Yeah, we go, well, bring it to that. Great, you know. Then the SMO started, then it went to fucking France, didn't it? Sorry for swearing, but it boils me blood. But are you better off knowing what you know? Because what can you fucking do? All as you're doing is pulling your hair out. Are we better off as mere civilians knowing what we know? We are fucking mere civilians. We can't do anything. We cannot do anything. And that's the thing. That's the thing. We can't do nothing. Can't even demonstrate. You can't say anything. You can't. You could end up doing 14 years in jail if you say something. It's all right saying Israel is great, you know, that's great. You know, Netanyahu, what a saint. He should be elected as the Nobel Peace Prize winner. You're all right saying things like that. You're all right saying like Kaya Kallas is unbelievable. Best diplomat in the fucking world. See what she said to them, the Chinese, see what she said to them. Isn't it just a nice sit back instead of fucking no? As I said, just reading a book. Sitting back, reading it, watching the telly, watching a nice film. Get them likes up, Faithful. Frank deserves it. As you all know, subscribe if new. Thank you. The Red Bird. Thank you so much. Thank you. Which city in Italy is most similar to Liverpool? Do you know what? I have to say, Napoli, you know. I have to. I have to. Because every city, all Italians, I'm not, you might think I'm being biased. Maybe I am, I don't know. But when I've gone to Italy, they're there to help. You can go into a shop and you can look around without being fucking harassed and walk out. And they just say, ciao, you know, ciao. You can walk out without them harassing you. If you ask any, you know, if you're looking for a fucking shop, negozio or supermercato, dove supermercato, prego. You know, they tell you, yeah, it's just up there. A sinistra. Grazie. See? That's what they're like. That's what we're like. That's what we're like. You know. Sorry about that, Yusuf. Well, I've been to loads of them. Been to Casino, Roma, Milan. I've been all over, put it that way. Verona. But they like the people of Liverpool, is it the city? You know? Napoli, funny enough, who was it? He was an actor. I mentioned this fella before. No, a playwright, Alan Owen. And he was over in New York. And he went, and he said, this is so much like Liverpool and Naples. And I'm going back years ago when he said that. Simon Satoshka, sadly we are entitled to phones, free accommodation, free dental and healthcare, free trips to the zoo and the circus while our pensioners struggle and disabled or victimised. I'm not entitled to free dental. Honestly, I'm not. I had to go to the dental hospital once. Mate of mine brought me up there. He says, you know, I can't drive any. Anyway, I was there. Dental hospital, London Road, Liverpool, Pembroke Place down there. So I'm sitting there. And there was I had to go on the terrace, you know, there. But there was loads of people. So I'm sitting there. And after over 2 hours sitting there, I felt sorry for me mate. He brought me, he was just sitting with me, just chatting. And I said, listen, stay. I said, come on. He said, no. He said, you've got to see these people. I'll sit with you. This is true what I'm going to say. A small group of family walked in, went to the reception, and the reception, and they went there, right through, and all the people were just looking like that. He went in, and then they all piled out. After about half an hour, after you could hear the zzz, 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 and then another group walked in. And then straight in. That's when I said, come on. That's when I said, come on, let's go. Not having this. We're behind all these people. And this could go on. Maybe. So I got off. And what I had to get done, a tooth, one, cost 660 quid. Well, 2 little groups of people walked in, cost like fuck all. See my fucking beef. Simon, they also got free shop. There is so much money, there is so much they get. People have no idea. When they get free houses every day. I could tell you about that as well. With my own daughter, by the way. What happened to her? It's still fucking happening. Also, Frank, did you see Israel bomb the Druze? No, if you're talking about the other day, no. He wasn't bombing the Druze. He was saying that they were bombing El Jawani or El Al Sharai or whatever his fucking name is now. They want the Druze on their side. Honestly, believe that. They're using people. Israel uses people. And they're using them. I mentioned it before about the corridor. And I'll know that I'll be proved right. Well, Franco, I think we are living in very dangerous times. I'm so worried for the children of today. What is the future? This country's gone downhill and it's only gonna get worse. Can it get any worse than what we are though? Really, can it get any worse? It's shocking. My little granddaughter, Sophia, named after Sophia Loren, by the way. Same spelling, everything. Me and her had it though. Said to Francie, oh, she got called Sophie. Anyway, she went to town with her mates. I think I mentioned this. I'm not quite so sure. She went to town with her friends. Sophia, she's 13 now, just turned 13. And she went to town, and there was a piano in town. Someone was playing. And a friend said, go on, Francine, have a go. I'll go on. Because she can play the piano. She could play it when she was from 4 years of age. She can read music. And she played one of the hardest on a piano to play, so I believe. No, she did play it, but I mean, it's the hardest. Someone said it's the hardest tune to play. And popular song. And it was Lady Madonna. Lady Madonna. Very hard to play. Just the tune, not singing along with it. All of it. And she got a big round of applause of the people. The people just stopped and listened to this kid playing. Do I want to see her grow up? Well, I won't be able to. But grow up and have children, get married and have children. Yeah, like every other 13-year-old. All these kids growing up and have kids of their own. But the way it is today, and it's America pushing it constantly. Trump, he's saying, I'm a mediator. No, you fucking not. You fucking started the thing. Your country. You're an American. You're so proud of being an American. So go back to 2014 and the Maidan coup d'etat to overthrow a legitimate government. Go back to all the fucking countries that you've had coups with. You've only got to go to Somalia now. And what are you doing in Somalia? Taking the resources. You're in Syria you've been taking it for years when even Bashar al-Assad was saying, get out of my country. You wouldn't fucking go because you were getting all the oil. That's what you like, Mr. America. That's what you like, MAGA. Make America great again. When have you fucking been great? Great at starting wars and not finishing them. That's the Vietnamese. That's the Afghans. That's the Iraqis. That's Libya. That's this lot, Syria today. We won the wars. Fuck off. Remember him saying that? Trump, we won the war. There's a fella, you know, and I just got him before. Oh, what's it called? It's Joe versus the world. Brilliant. And Americans are sitting there saying, look at this. He said, I'd love to bring someone from Iceland. And he put a picture up of a fella, you know, an Icelandic with an Iceland flag. He said, bring him here and you should see what he was showing in America. He said, he shows a TikTok thing. I've seen this before though, this TikTok thing. How many continents are there? Or what continent do we live in? This is a fucking student. Not a, not a little mad kid. And she said, I don't know. She was laughing. And he said, you don't know? She said, no, I'll give you $1. She said, here's $1. She said, I'll give you $1. Even if you tell me, what continent we're in. She didn't know what a continent was. Then they showed you this other thing. He said, just imagine bringing them here. And it was California, LA. And you see all these people, with the bums sticking out, wobbling the bums, stopping the traffic. And he said, well, that's America. Oh, Paul Bear. Paul Bear, I've been there 3 different times. Great. As was ever going, but wonderful. What's that? I didn't see you. Paul, I didn't see you, mate. Callum, not you, Frank, but most Brits don't accept that we raised it first. So it's like, fuck around, find out what's safe. The snapey. The snape. Historically, Italian and German combinations are pretty much doomed from the off. German stoicism and Italian flair don't really mix. Mount Ryan's Express was a brilliant film. Evening people, says Sneaky. There was only one store, wasn't it? Right? Hello, Francis says Tony LFC. The mince pie man. Callum, we are far from an Islamic country. It's very diverse. Most Brits are agnostic nowadays, says Callum. Paul Beck to the Redbird. Think we're becoming a Zionist country quicker than Islamic one. Well, see, so you've got to ask yourself this. Listen to me. Please listen. Is it the population that could become, I'm just hear me out, could become Islamic? Or, sorry about this. Or a Zionist country. Who is it? Or is it the politicians? It's the politicians. But one thing, whether Islam or whatever, I do not fucking believe in the Sharia law being in this country. Whatever country you go to, it's their law. If you go to America, it's their law. You can't say, oh no, I was there. Or Spanish, or a French, or a German, or anywhere. Know what I mean? I'll tell you some, propaganda. This was only the other day. And it was about a fella getting 14 years for saying words in Russia. got 14 years. And the headline was, Russian author gets 14 years, author of journalist. First and foremost, he wasn't Russian. Secondly, he was backing up, the like long-range strikes into Russia, which could cause a nuclear war. And he was going against everything Russian. So they collared him. But as the propaganda, oh, he was Russian, was he? He was in Russia. Paul Wilson, the Red Bird. Callum, you must live in a nice area, mate. We are being overrun by illegals. Did you know the illegals have been flown in at night time for years? BBC, etc. won't tell you the truth. Do you ever remember when they were bringing, I think, one or two illegals to Rwanda? Remember that? And they had loads of them there. Oh, they're not going. They put it in an appeal. Remember that? Putting in appeals. Let's put these in the glasses. Appeals. Remember that? Remember that? Putting in appeals. So they were all okay, and one or two of them went. Now this is what I was taught, and I'm going back then. I went, behave. When they were coming back, the fucking plane was full of them coming back to this country. I said, "Oh, go away." Telling you now. That's what he said. Could you believe it now? Yeah, Paul, I'm sorry there. Yeah, nice soft Frank. Yeah. There am I. Yeah. That scarf or a pants. I got them to go away. I'm still here. Oh, Jesus. I've been looking at 3 places. And I'm just getting the all clear, to go. I'm bringing Francine and my granddaughter. So I'm looking at a place called Sheffield in Sicily because it's flat. And also Miori on the Amalfi Coast, which is also flat. Red don't watch Zionism channels, says Carl. So I defo don't watch BBC. Do you not remember when Europe raided countries? This was always going to happen. Do you remember when Europeans raided countries? Yeah, but you're going back to imperialism. You could talk about the Romans 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago. So then we remember Richard the Lionheart on the Crusades into the Middle East. What was that all over? So then you can, go right through. the kings and having battles with France and Spain and whatever. It's always been the same. Then you'd have the explorers, didn't you, on the ships. That's where they were going, oh, fucking great over there. But you had good men, like William Roscoe, who brought lots and lots of exotic plants so that people could see them. And he opens up a gardens, botanical gardens here in Liverpool, 1801. Then you had another fellow named Adkins. He said, this here, fucking great, this. He opened the very first zoological gardens in the world. He said that it was a German, and it wasn't. So why did he say Germans to him? It wasn't. It was this fella in Liverpool, in Shield Park, 1831. Zoo. He said, I want to show the people these animals. Exotic birds. Instead of the seagulls and the sparrows and little finches and whatever. He brought buzzards, eagles, big eagles, vampires and everything he brought. Callum. Remember when French had an apartheid in Vietnam? Yeah, and the Americans liked it. Can we take over? They said, yeah, go on. What was their excuse? What was the spin of that, Callum? To stop communism. Vietnam? Fuck's sake, come on. And Callum. And for America, nobody is illegal on stolen land. But Zelensky, it's like a movie star. He's got the spotlight on from all the EU countries, and he loves it. Of course he loves it. And he's fucking telling everyone what to do. Telling you and me. I want your fucking tax money. That's what it is. But Callum, not all American lands are stolen. If you ask the indigenous people, the Americans have stolen their land. Especially where gold is, and minerals, and oil. Did you not see they kicked out a baby with cancer, a young kid, out of hand? Of course it's out of hand. Of course it is. But where do you say stop? That's what you've got to look at. It's very hard. Where do you say stop in this country? You see, look, do you know when you cross the Mexican border, you're in America, you can't go anywhere else. So you've got people coming from South America, say like Venezuela and Bolivia and Colombia and Argentina and Chile and El Salvador. Right? Go to El Salvador because that's America now. But they don't, they just go straight through, and they go straight through Mexico. Get to the border and get over, because America's great, America's free. As they say, but it's not. It's not all what you make out to be. But where do you stop? Where do you stop? This man came in, Trump. We're going to put out all the, I'm going to deport all the illegals. See what I mean? So, where do you stop? Where do you stop immigrants? Where do you stop saying to people you can't come into the country? You know, like most probably if I applied to be an American citizen, I'd get American citizen, you know, live in American citizenship. Too old for that. But yeah, I can go over and live in America. Why? You tell me why I could get in. Our land is being stolen. Do you think that's okay because of our past, which has nothing to do with that's the myth surrounding us all. What the past did, what our ancestors did, and we're to blame. We're to blame. Look, suppose you've got a family member and he's a bit of a baddie, or even is she, whatever, and they broke into a house and stole things, and they were found out. It was them. Seeing on CCTV. The people of that house will see you, who you have nothing at all to do with it, and you're a good person. They're going to blame you. They're going to look at you and tarnish you with the same brush. How many times has it happened? You can't tarnish anybody with the same brush. And that's what it's like, unfortunately. And Callum says, I don't vote all governments. I don't vote at all. Governments are corrupt. Well, I never voted in the last one because they're not the governments I once recognised and voted for since I was 18. Callum, you're only getting one side from mainstream, says the Redbird. I like this. Callum said that stolen by who migrants helped build this country back up after World War II. We called them. I'd like to know what migrants you're talking about, Callum. You're talking about my city, Liverpool. Before the war, before the First World War, my great uncles came over to Liverpool. They were terrazzo floor laid, and they put all the mosaic down because we couldn't. We weren't experienced at terrazzo, the country that is. So they came over, and they went back to Italy after doing it, and it's in the Port of Liverpool building. Liverpool at the Pierhead, beautiful building, love it. Sir Arnold Cornley opens its doors in 1907. So they went back to Italy, and they went, that Liverpool is brilliant. There are some Italians living there. So a few years later, after the First World War, we decided to come over because the Allies promised Italy, to give them a load of money. They said, we can't afford to have a war. We've just sewn up the boot of Italy, for God's sake. Giuseppe Mazzini, Garibaldi. I said, we've just sewn it up. We can't afford a war. Don't worry, we'll pay you. We'll give you everybody big compensation. Everybody will be compensated. So my family decided as well, seeing they're not giving us anything, I just well join them. Half of them came here to Liverpool, waiting for the ship to take them. 6 months waiting this out. Half of the family went over, got to New York, Ellis Island. And this half, the half of my family, stayed because they got work. And they said, it's just like Naples. He says, like a Napoli. So that was an answer there as well from before. Question. And that was it. That was something to be fucking about, you know. Do you think I've swallowed a fly? Was there? Hooke's law is Robert Hooke, who was a very interesting 17th century scientist, polymath, who Isaac Newton tried to erase from history. Wow. Very good. And why did he try to erase him? Newton, why did he try to erase him? It's like anything else, you know. That's a good point because someone can say something. It's like Sir Oliver Lodge. No, Sir Oliver Lodge invented the radio. And he painted it. He sold the painting to Marconi. Well, he never sold the painting. He just sold whatever he has. He said, yeah, you can have. And Marconi painted it. And Marconi got all the credit. It's like Frieze Green. Frieze Green invented the moving pictures. But who got the credit for the moving pictures? It's those French lads, isn't it? Or the French. Lumiere. Yes, I got the moving pictures. What about Frieze Green? Oh, who's Frieze Green? Who is Frieze Green? Uh-huh. So you see, it goes on. Oh, blimey. Sorry about this. It goes on, and they do, you know, I'm not saying they get robbed. The greatest inventor, anything. There's Nikola Tesla. Great man. Electricity. He wanted to give it to the world free. Everybody will have it free. Until Edison, JP Morgan, and the fucking rest of the greedy pricks said, no, there's a lot of money in this. There's loads like it. Who slaughters lots. Callum. Yep, not surprised by Italy anymore. There you go, Bella Italia, Yusef, Napoli. Napoli. Love Naples. Love it. The only unfortunate thing is still a holiday destination. But, you know, when I do go to Sorrento, you know, I always went into Napoli. For a day. Always spent a day there. I spent 3 days there once because I missed my fucking flight back home. And it would have cost the pair of us each 750 quid each to fly to Stansted. They said, unless you want to wait until Tuesday, this is the Friday, stay Tuesday. Your flight's then, and all right, back to Liverpool. All right, yep, that'll do us. Wasn't our fault that we missed it, by the way. Fucking strike on the autostradas in Italy. Oh, fucking strike. And our hotel, you know, the Metropole, didn't tell us that there was a strike the next day. Get a train. Go for a train. Never told us. I was going to fucking sue them, by the way, for the money I spent out. Israel is just for Zio Jews, not for anyone else, says Carlyle. But if it was not occupied and it was fully Palestine, people would be able to visit in peace. No, look, there are Jewish people who don't like Netanyahu and what he's doing, but they've been shut up. Shut up, fuck up, shut up. There was even demonstrations. I watched it on the news, and I'm going back a couple of years ago, and they were told to shut up. There was a lady right after the 7th of October debacle, and she was saying there were Israeli soldiers. I was right after it, and it just got beamed out. Israeli soldiers were shooting our own. Israeli soldiers shooting our own. Have you seen that again after that? Oh, that was gone then. Woman, by the beach. That was scrubbed. That was brushed under the carpet, as usual. Neapolitans are passionate about being Neapolitans, and Scousers are passionate about being Scousers. Couldn't put better, so. Honestly, you're so right. So right. What does everybody think about Ekatike anyway? Was he training today? I'm sure he was at Anfield, you know, training. Not quite so sure. All I know is that McAllister's going to Real Madrid. McAllister. Trent's coming back in the deal. Simon. Franco, should we all chip in and get a coach to go up to Scotland and see Donald next week? See Donald next week. He wanted to build a wall, you know. Did you know that, Simon? Around his golf course. Or some fucking wall. Or was it around his hotel or house or something like that? And the Scottish were like, you having a laugh? But what? He get you in the room with him and get him on the phone to Mr. Putin and get all this sorted. I wish. Ali Denise. Hey, Ali. Good evening, Sir Al Franchino. Hi, Ali. Hope you're well. Hope you're well, mate. Redberg. Callum Palestine was created in the 50s, maybe 48. So Palestine by a Scouser as well. Balfour. Scouser in Balfour. Never existed until then, says the Redbird. He's being sarcastic here. You need to do proper research, pal, and stop listening to propaganda like mainstream media. I tell you what was funny. We were talking, I thought it was hilarious myself. It was brilliant, but they put it on, you know, I was watching this stream. And they said, listen to this. And it was these Zionist atheists, don't believe in God, don't believe anything like that. The same fella who was saying that. He wants to get rid of all, you know, Gazans, and, you know, the Palestinians in Gaza. Anyway, as the thing that he said all that, then as the discussion was going on, he said, well, but the Bible said that God has promised us this land. God has promised us this land. The fella who was from it, well, I thought you were an atheist. He said, well, it doesn't matter, but you know, that God said that promised us the land. These are the fucking people you're dealing with. Michael, I can see the good in some people being blissfully ignorant. False consciousness is preferable. Hang on. Is preferable to mass chaos like you. I pulled my hair out too. But what else can we do? Exactly. If you'd have been with me, Michael, today, and listened to that lady about mates, he looks a proper gentleman. I said, you've only got to put a fucking SS suit on him and a hat. Black. SS. That's what he was. That's what he is. That's what his family were. You don't change your ideology. You do not change it. Simon LFC. My eldest son has cerebral palsy due to negligence at birth. After I sued the NHS, they told me he'd always be entitled to NHS treatment. Not true. Can't even get a dentist and has to pay. Totally agree with you, says Sam. We won't have money for the NHS in 10 years, and we will be on private medical insurance, or you go without. I have to find the pliers for my teeth. You're so right, you know. I always remember a consultant about 3 or 4 years ago, and she said, privatisation isn't coming through the back door anymore. This was a lady, by the way. She said it's coming through the front door each passing year, and there's no one to save us. If 16-year-olds can have the vote, does that mean they'll be tried as adults in criminal courts, says Toscana. You can be tried as an adult, depends on the crime actually. You can. Strange, isn't it? You can have she can have a baby. You can get married and have a baby. Yet they're not allowed to vote at the moment. But they are reducing it, aren't they? I'm trying to get comfortable. Sorry about this. Mamma mia. Back from Ibiza, Frank. Miss me early on. Do you know what? I hope you enjoyed yourself. I really do, mate. I've got to tell you about Paul. He always flits off, you know. One day he's here, the next time I'm in Ibiza. I'm in Benazon. Wherever. I'm glad, mate. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I know you did. Good evening, Frank and chat. I hope everyone is well tonight, says the Scottish Bear. And the bear carries on. Make sure you subscribe and like for Frank, guys. I've got to say, thank you, Bear. What's that? They buoy already Zionist country. Fair play. What the fuck's that? Callum Etatike is just another Nunes or Milan Baros. He has had one good season. He ain't worth 70. Still think Isak wants to come, but he has to push the deal. But I don't think he will, sadly. You're right there. I'm going to go right down. I want to say something. I've got to say this. There's a lovely lady for the UN, and she's being sanctioned by Rubio under the orders, obviously, of Washington. And her name is Francesca Albanese, because she also put out an arrest warrant for Netanyahu. And she complained that Netanyahu was flying all over the place to get to America, and no one is arresting him. He should be arrested for war crimes. Now she's being sanctioned. There's the El Sharia, whatever his fucking name is. I'm going to call him El Jawani. That's all I know about. El Sharia, is it? El Sharia. And he's still executing people, Christians. He has a $10 million on his head, bounty on his head by the Americans. They made him a big friend because he helped Israel. It's complicated. It's complex. But I'll guarantee you now, if that corridor's open, they'll get rid of El Jawani. Head chopper, eh? Fucking head chopper. Callum Etatike is going to be a great player for us, says the Redbird. Have you watched a lot of his games? I guess not. Redbird, oh yeah, I've seen a lot of them. He's raw, but Teflon. He can't finish better than. I love you, sir. Toscana. In some parts of the country, Sharia rules. Even dogs are. Yeah, they want the dogs banned. Anyone walking dogs. That's mad, that. Walking the dog is going to be banned. They're already banned where the law courts are. Sharia law courts. They're already banned in those places. So you can't walk your dog. I worked with an Indian lady and she kept telling me over 20 years ago that Islam was dangerous and if we didn't nip it in the bud, we'd be sorry. She was right. I think you're brilliant tonight, by the way, everyone. Everyone. Even Callum with his etiquette. Callum, stop talking about the past. You know anything about the Romans invading us and the Vikings? Should we keep going on about them? And the Normans, them dirty French. And what about the Scots when the invaders Wembley and broke the barge? You ever remember they jumped on the barge and they broke it? Wembley. Don't forget we invaded Ireland 1566. Used it as a stepping stone. And it's gone on from there. Why didn't they give all Ireland back when they said, the 20s? Why didn't they just fucking give it all back? They still wanted to hang on to that little piece of imperialism, the empire. Like Australia and New Zealand, Canada. Do you think them Australians, New Zealanders, saluting the king? Callum, with respect, I do think you are a little naive on some things, says the Emperor. Simon. Enjoying the spirit of debate tonight, as always, carried out with respect for everyone's opinions and views. Thank you, Simon. That's why I love you all. Now, if I was Elon Musk, genuine this, if I was Elon Musk, I'd say to every one of you, you're going on a whale cruise, I'll buy all your houses, you can have them. Don't be worrying about rents or anything. I have relatives to fill it. And I'll bring you all on a whale cruise. Every single one of you. You might think I'm joking, no? But I'm not Elon Musk. Respect, bro. Redbird, says Toscano. Deports all illegal immigrants, says the Redbird. That's a cracker. All this is a distraction from the fact that rich versus poor. That's it's rich. It's always been that, though, as you know, you said. It's always been that. I wish you could have joined me the other night when I was talking the history of literature. It says it all. Says it all. And it's a vicious circle. Leonardo da Vinci, he went like that. He drew the perfect circle, freehand. The perfect circle, freehand. The vision he had. It was like, I mentioned Tesla before. Like Tesla. He said we'll just brighten up everywhere. We'll make a light into night, into day. Think about it. And when you think of what Oscar Wilde, he was a Dubliner, by the way, when he says patriotism is the virtue of the vicious. Rich versus poor. Do you remember, you can even go back to Richard II when they had the peasant revolt, and he said, "Oh yeah, you'll be all right, yeah." And ended up killing them all. So everything is, I don't know, it's like, you get the Pandora box thing. I never say that. It's like opening the Pandora box. It's like opening a door and you see what's going on. Everything. Then you open another door and you look at the countryside. The little birds singing and chirping away. The sun shining. Total different entities. I was looking at something that was the perfect earth. It's on YouTube. It's like I don't know. It's showing you all the colour, beautiful. And I'm looking at it, and it's only showing you the earth, from above, and you see everything. There's things I've never even fucking seen. Ever. Like a monastery on top of a mountain, a Buddhist monastery in China. And people walk up the fucking mountain. Like that. and valleys, beautiful ice things, ice, icebergs, but melting and they're making shapes. Incredible. And these exotic birds, even some creatures I've never even seen. Even the fish, have you seen them? The fucking little bubbly things, unbelievable. And these birds. Oh. And yet, beautiful colours. And then you see cities overnight. The cars go, fantastic, from above, all lit up, the buildings. I'm going, man is destroying this. We are destroying a beautiful earth. I wrote a poem. I'm going back a few years ago. I was just sitting here and I was thinking about, I was just thinking about a cat. A cat. And before we finish, I think I'll read you it. Do you mind? Excuse me. Let's see. There it is there, the poem. You want me to read you there? Let's see. It's called Blank Paper. I was just sitting there because you're not going to believe it. Our Francine said, write a list out, Dad. For sure. Because you always say every time we come out and get home, I forgot, do you know what I forgot, Francine? She said, write a list out. So I was sitting there and I was thinking, what's to write? Then all of a sudden I started thinking about a cat. Can I read you it? I hope I read it well. Sorry. Honestly, I did write this. That's it. Blank paper. Midnight staring at blank paper. My blank mind devoid of thoughts. My eyes focused to the floor. The cat, curious, hissing and prowling. Tick tock, the ticking clock. Fingers nearing the midnight hour. The cat still hissing and staring. A noise, the cat flap flips open. Gone. Mine wonders about the cat's disappearance into the darkness. Was it hissing at? What was it hissing at? Was it a curious at? The clock's silence. No moving fingers. No sound. No tick tock. No cat. Still, blank paper. No inspiration. Deadly silence. A deadly blank mind. Deadly silence. Suddenly broken. Tick tock. The witching hour descends. Chimes of midnight greets us all. Cat flips, lifts the cat, prowling the hall. Ominous dark shadow follows the cat. My blank mind racing, my brow perspiring, knees violently shaking together, hands trembling, heart pumping. The inspirational cat is back, and I start to write on the blank paper. What a load. Trying to get out me list, shopping list for France. Yusuf, divide and conquer tactics. It's all done by design. Tell you who said that. Tell you who brought that out. A great Roman writer by the name of Tacitus. Tacitus. Simon, to you, sir. It's always the poor that get targeted. It is the poor that is the victim. It is the poor who always suffer. It is the way the world has always been, and when the poor rise up, it's revolutionary. But nothing happens in revolutions unless you're backed by an army, like the coup d'etat and governments. If you're backed by them and you get poor people who are in a union building, 40 odd of them, and burnt alive. Kiev, 2014, or just 2014. Yusuf says the Hooks Law. Yes, indeed, immigration is not planned by immigrants, but those who control the government, divide and conquer. What have I always said on it? And it was the big plan by America to destabilize the Middle East so that all the migrants, don't forget, wars were going on, all started by America, by the way. No one else. Not by Chinese, not by the Russians, not by young kids, not by Iran. All American, to destabilize and let all the migrants flow, even in some African countries as well, like Somalia. So the big movement over to Europe to destabilize Europe. Have they destabilized the Middle East? Have they destabilized Europe? The plan, did it work? Of course it worked. Robert Duke, Victim of Genius, is a documentary on YouTube. I'll have a look at that. I'll have a look at that. Thank you, Hughes Law. Because who threw an apple at him, Joe? He says, Christopher. No, when the apple fell, who fell there? Oh, my head, son. And the apple fell. And he thought Newton threw it out. 150,000 Afghans coming to this country at the cost of 8 billion, and it makes the streets even less safe, as many are military trained, says the IBR story. Simon, only the white poor, while we make the illegals richer. Anyone think that is okay needs to wake up, give their heads a wobble. Christopher. Hi Frank and everyone, like and subscribe. Thank you, Christopher. Bella. Zelensky is like that song, Money, Money, Money in a Rich Man's World. Yes, and laughing all the way to the bank. He's got a massive villa in Italia, a vineyard. Now the Russians want him. He won't be safe in. He will not be safe. For their birds. IBR, they are building a city for them. It's definitely a plan. You know, it's always been a plan. And we're fighting us, if you know what I mean. The governments are fighting the public. I've got to say this. The IBR Redbirds and the Redbird, it's clear to me that they are building up an Islamist forces on our doorstep. They'll bring more immigrants to piss the public off because the public is divided as it is. There'll be riots, so the government love this. Toscana. Neapolitani have a great unique culture, linguistic identity. Reminds me of you. Wonderful Scousers. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that beautiful comment. Thank you. Johan. Frank, you already know what's coming from that lady after the mate's comment. BB Milikovsky. She'll get a Nobel Peace Prize for helping the poor Druze. Yeah, this is it. This is it. And the girl who should get, or the person who should get, I shouldn't have said the girl, the person who should get it is Francesca Albanese from the UN law. She's a lawyer. She's a lawyer. And she's only doing a job. And Trump must have said to Marco Rubio, listen, you better fucking shut her up. Fucking terrible. And as you know, Trump is only a bully. He just wakes up one morning, I think I'll say this, and says it, full of bluster. He's threatened within 50 days, 40 odd now, Russia. What's he going to do? He's got no fucking arms. And they're picking a fight with China. Russia and China. A mate picking a fight with Russia. He just wants it. And Rutte, what an arsehole he is. Did you know when Mate was voted in? He never got voted in right away, you know. And it was a big embarrassment. That Alice girl, Viral, should have got in. The German people wanted it. It's all corrupt. In Romania, they wanted Georgescu or Simone. No, he couldn't get in. Put another fucking fella because they support the likes of the West that supports Ukraine. Serbia's come out, Vucic, he absolutely Vucic said we're not making more arms because they were going through a third party into Ukraine. And they still believe they're going to win the war. If you ever know that, they're going to win the fucking war. Ukraine. Tonight was good. It seems you're growing in confidence with each show. I like that, says Michael. Oh, thank you. Johan, solidarity with Francesca Albanese. Absolutely. I tell you what, honestly, when you look, I always remember. You must remember this. It was only last year or the year before, whenever it was, and there was talk about. Someone just came out and said it was a fella, some American, and he said he should be up in The Hague, and the Americans came out. It wasn't Biden at the time. I think could have been Blinken or someone like that. Kirby, Sullivan, Jake Sullivan, remember him? And he said, anyone, if there's an American brought into The Hague, we will bomb them. You ever remember that? Can I shout you one about Francesca Toscana? Reading everyone's comments, we need to make sure that we can continue to have a different points of view and be able to agree to disagree. We have to be careful as it'll be eradicated under Stormy. The red bit, Muslims get Sharia loans which they don't have to pay interest. Most banks are doing it now, but of course they don't edit it. It's added to it. It's been happening for years. Starmer. But he's following someone else, He's a puppet, Starmer. You know that, don't you? He's a puppet. And he's a puppet to the Americans. And it's to destabilise this country even more. It really is. I'm not just saying that. I'm not trying to be clever or anything, but I think you should know that. Toscana, Red Bears, I've got a German Shepherd dog. She's part of the family and nobody will stop me from walking it. Let them try and fucking go to you. Grab it off you. Edward. Great dogs, German Shepherds. Does it speak German? You got a little more here. Toscana, they will stop the dogs in some areas, sadly. Is that freedom of what's that now? Is that freedom? I said this years ago about freedom of speech being stopped and freedom of thought. And there's what else was said: freedom of movement. It'll be freedom of movement. Yusha, would you ever go to space with one of Jeff Bezos' rockets? I reckon, if we're all still here, that is, that in the next 5 years, the Chinese will be building a space station on the moon. Also, they'll have gone to Mars. But in years to come, when we won't be here, they'll have conquered Mars by then. Simon, quote, without feelings of respect, what is there to distinguish men from beasts? Confucius. As I said, patriotism is the virtue of the vicious. Oscar Wilde. And Shakespeare, what did he say? Oh, what an era we live in. While idiots govern the blind. Think about that. There are some simple things and some hard things, and there are some things that we cannot get our heads around, and they're the politicians. They are the politicians. The politicians that rule you. You do as we say, and we have to comply with it unless we go to jail. And when you come out, you still have to comply with it. I don't know anymore. It's without getting myself into trouble, I can't say things. Because as you know, freedom of speech, it's gone. Freedom of opinion, you have an opinion. I know that the comments on here are brilliant and very carefully and well put. Because I know at the layers of the comments, there's something else there. There's something different. What you'd like to say. That's why I said to, I think it was Bella Italia, that, about 10,000 prisoners being let out of Italy's jails because it's overcrowded. All of a sudden, they're overcrowded. And I said, think about it. Why are they overcrowded now? Edward, when is the... I bet you when I moved my head, that reminds you, didn't it? It's that you live. When is he coming up? Do you know what? I don't know. I'll tell you, if you're with us on Monday, I'll let you know Monday. It's too late to phone Jay now. I would have let you know. I'll tell you what, I might let you know tomorrow. I'll message Jay. Could be next week. Unless, see, I know this is conspiracy theories. What can I do? I'll make it a special one night. Just UFOs. See, Fridays might be awkward for them. And I've got a paranormal fella, he's a friend actually, lines up. He frightened me, and Jason. No, he only frightened me. My daughter Francie said, "Can I come with you, Dad?" And I went, "No." I said, she went, "I'm coming." So I said, "All right." And she brought her mate. Telling you. And what this fella said will happen. And it's happened. Now, Francine wasn't supposed. I said, "Oh, don't go, Francine. You know, it's the early hours in the morning." And her mate. Now, they didn't know this fella, Jamie. Well, he said what would happen in this fucking building. And it's happened. It's happened to a former colleague of mine as well. He was with me, for teacher. And he said, "I'll come down." I said, "All right." Historian, funny enough, used to teach yesterday. Still does, I think. And no, that was no. He didn't know. He never has a clue who he was. Francine's mates, she didn't know who he was. Honestly. And it's happened. And they never even met him before. Because by the time they came in, we were upstairs going around and they were told to leave. And yeah, I said, "I'm fucking going home. That's me. I'm go." And Jason said, "I'm staying." I said, "I'll stay with me. I'll fucking go." And I got off. Jason stayed there till I think 3:30 in the morning. He loves all things like that. Oh, fuck that. So I'll get him on. I'll promise you, I'll get the paranormal on. I've got something this week coming week. I'll definitely have him on the following week, one evening. The paranormal. The paranormal. Gangs of child abusing perverts are evil beasts. I fucking hate them. I'd pull the switch, I'd press the button. People like that. IBR to Toscana. They want to ban all bets as they use the climate change for fascism to justify it, and with the UN 2030 agenda, there won't be ownership of private property. I've only ever heard that once, by the way. IBR. About private property. There won't be any more of it. And that makes you think, doesn't it? Perhaps, says Simon, the world would be a better place if we listened and followed a Da Vinci quote I found. One has no right to love or hate anything if one has not acquired a thorough knowledge of its nature. That's great, that Simon. And it's only what I said before. I wish I was ignorant of some things I know. I really, honestly. It blows. I don't just, it's like that poem. I just don't sit there I think. And it's shocking thinking of things that you don't want to think of. That's the problem I've got. Great quote says that Edberta Simon. I'm in pets, but honestly, they want to ban all pets, as they, not bets. Well, I've heard that before, about, really, I have, about no private property. They're buying up all the farms, aren't they? Especially in the Netherlands. And other places we don't hear of, by the way. Well said, Simon. Nice quotes. Frank, don't you see similarities with the fall of the empires over? Yeah, of course. And the current situation of the modern American? Yes. Decaying social structure, deluded leaders, council of corruption, etc. Yes. See, when empires are building, I don't even like admitting this, they were by people who wanted to improve countries. They wanted to improve countries. It's like the Romans. You go to where there's ruins. Look at the aqueduct in Spain to take water from the mountains, the melting snow down to the arid dryness of cities and farms. Think about it. Incredible what they did. They built road. They built the first road here, Watling Street, in England. Temples. So they had great engineers and they built for the best for the people. Always remember that sketch, Monty Python. What's the Romans ever done for us? Banks are addictive, not backs addictive, sister. Autocorrect is a bitch, and sometimes I forget. I knew what you meant. Like I knew that it was like that girl who didn't know what a continent was, and she didn't know what continent she lived on. That American. But I see loads of things like that about these Americans never had a fucking clue. He had like a sheet, and it had 6:45 on it, 6:40. And he went, "This is 6:45. Have a look." And these are students. And he said, "How many minutes from there to there?" And he said, "I'll make it easier. How many?" And he has $1. He said, "I'll give you $1. How many minutes do you reckon in a quarter of an hour?" And they never got 15 minutes. Not fucking one of them. Where's England's one was set? This is in Mexico. Johan, same could be said of our country, says the Redbird. I remember, saying to this girl, a friend of mine, just a friend, And I said I was in bits. Was you in bits? And it came out as where I said I was you in bits. Can you show me your breasts? And it went. Oh, fuck. Christ, is he eating? Don't worry, I knew what you meant. And I was in bits. Fuck. Lovely girl. Thanks a man. Can you catch you next time, Frank, and top chat and say that? Thank you. Is that a cat? Great poems on the shopping list. I'll finish on these boys and girls. Apparently, Russia is taking control of the biggest lithium. It's a horrible word, isn't it? In Ukraine, and Trump's puppet handlers are it. Of course they are. BlackRock. That's why BlackRock have pulled out of Ukraine the other week. Yeah, fuck all there for us. Of course Trump's going mad. Do you think that when Kellogg went over and said, listen, you can draw the line there because there was more stuff. Lithium. Now, carrying on. You're telling us what to do. Fuck off. Sorry to swear, girls. Bella will tell you. Franco, what a lovely poem. Enjoy that tonight. Grazie. Thank you. The Ottomans here. It's the Ottomans here. Even in Frank and everyone. Hoopsler. Yes. Name is brilliant. I was watching them today with Larry Johnson. Great Larry. Great Larry. Ex-CIA, knows the score. Dmitry Orlov, our ambassador, Chaz Freeman. I like Dmitry Orlov's great, yeah. And Chaz, but Chaz, it's hard of hearing him, hard hearing him. But he's a lovely man, and he knows the score, former ambassador. Larry Johnson's brilliant. I'm going to watch the round table when I finish it. Hoopslow. They don't pay interest, says the Ottomans, but they pay extra payments to cover the interest. There you go. Derek Saraf. Career politicians, they're all fucking career politicians, every one of them. Every one of them. I was asked to be an MEP once. And I said, me? You kidding? But it was for a party that I said, no thanks. No thanks. He said, you walk it? I said, no thanks. Franco and everyone in the chat, says Simon. Thank you so much for a frank and open debate tonight. It is brilliant. We have a forum which enables us to discuss our feelings and vent our frustrations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for those lovely sentiments. Really appreciate it. And Johan, Frank Trump's tariff on BRICS is absolutely insane, completely isolating the West from the rest. Now all the member countries are signing trade deals with each other while we buy arms for Zelensky. That won't happen. There's no way that he can afford to get that. He's buying now. He's buying 3 commodities. One of them is minerals. He has to buy the minerals. The other one is oil. And he has to buy a certain oil to make diesel. It's only Russia who has this oil. That makes it, you get diesel. And there's grain. So if he put tariffs on, he'll be paying extra for the oil, for the minerals, these minerals, whatever it is, and for the grain. Won't happen. But you're right there, Johan. You know, it's horrible for Nazis. Thank you, Frank and Legends, for another great show. Great comments from incredibly passionate members of our beautiful community tonight. Take care, Legends. Happy weekend, everyone. Thank you all. You have a good one. I've got the film and TV review tomorrow. Don't forget. Oops. Do you remember the Dingle block got knocked down in the 80s? I remember my blocks being pulled down. Jerry Gardens and Jerry Crescent. Art Deco at its best. They would have been fantastic today. He left the bull ring though. Gray's one listed, the bully. Bella Italia. Buonanotte, Franco. Sweet dreams. And everybody in it. Buonanotte, Bella. Buonanotte, cara mia. Where do the Rothschilds family live now? I know they've got places in Switzerland. I do know that. I don't know whether it's Kensington or Mayfair, they've got places as well. You said. Oops. Yes, they did. They did. And if Ringo Starr was here, he'd say, yeah, they built our house as well. Michael J. More like it. Well done. And on that wonderful note, I'm going to finish. I'll be on tomorrow morning with the film and TV review. I meant more. I know what you meant. It's all right, mate. I know what you meant, mate. I haven't seen it, Callum. I haven't seen them. Love your flag, by the way. See you, Franco, lad. Who gets looking sure? Haven't seen him. Seen any of it. I'll have a look tomorrow on YouTube. YouTube. Adios, gentlemen and ladies, says Ook's Law. Ook, will you subscribe and like, just to get the algorithm up there, please? Another banger, Don Franco, as always. Sempre. Sempre. IBR. Thank you. Thank you. Grazie, Franco, and everyone. Very refreshing that we can come on here, give our points of view. I suppose years ago people would do the same, and that's all that we could do. It ends up fighting. Can't fight on it. I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. Just imagine having that. Do you remember the Speaker's Corner, was it? Where, you know, you get these people giving out what was in Hyde Park. Can't do that today. Think about it. See, their traditions. And we're slowly losing our tradition. Well, not slowly, it's becoming more rapid. Rapido. They just released from Fully today. Oh, right, okay. I'll have a look tomorrow, Callum. There's one. Cream, white, and one turquoise. I'll have a go at that. I'll have a look at that. Sounds good. My dad, says Simon, knew I was going to be a comedian when I was a baby. He said, this is a joke. When he looks at him, I was a baby. On that wonderful note, give me a smile. Give me a smile. And Toscana's dad, when he was watching Brookside. What language do they speak? That was the funniest. I've got to finish, people. Mille grazie, tutti. And on that wonderful note, I'm going to end. See some of you tomorrow. If not, see you Monday. Mille grazie. Ciao.